On today's episode of PDubs Arcade Loft, we're going to take a look at the Arcade1Up Marvel versus Capcom Cabinet. I've been covering Arcade1Up for over a year. I've spent thousands of dollars on their products, but it's been a little while, guys. It's been a little while since I could confidently say that Arcade1Up has hit a home run. But with the Marvel vs. Capcom Cabinet, we can finally say that once again. I have the Marvel Superheroes Limited Edition cabinet, but honestly, I'm probably going to sell it now that I have this bad boy in my house. Once you have everything fully assembled, the marquee is fantastic. Unlike the recent Legacy Edition cabinets that were released with smaller control decks, we have our standard cookie cutter shaped Arcade1Up. So when it comes to comfort levels while playing as well as viewing angles, no issues whatsoever with this cabinet, and I love the nice touch on the bezel. The addition of the moves lifts for the premier game Marvel vs. Capcom on here is a welcome addition. And of course, this cabinet does come with that Bowie monitor, so when it comes to the brightness and viewing angles, no issues at all there either. This bundle that I ordered from Best Buy came with a stool as well as a light-up control deck, and honestly, I wasn't a big fan of these light-up control decks, but it totally works. On this cabinet's particular configuration, the extra parts of the control deck that light up when the lights touch it look fantastic. The lighted control deck has several different settings, but I gotta tell you, I predominantly keep it blue to match the cabinet, and it just pops. It actually looks great. And yes, we have the typical Arcade1Up joysticks and buttons. They're not the best in the world. They do the job. I always complain about them. I wish they were better. But that's not something I see them changing anytime soon, so we're just gonna have to learn to live with it. But moving on down to the riser, probably one of the best riser ever designed by Arcade1Up, with your Marvel characters on the left and your Capcom characters on the right. Following the theme of the risers, of course, on the side panels, you do have your Capcom characters on the right, with the Marvel characters kind of shaded that float into the design, with a matching Capcom side panel on the riser as well that looks fantastic. On the left-hand side of the cabinet, we have all the Marvel superheroes included in the Marvel vs. Capcom game, with any of the Capcom characters that are shaded over. They're in black and white versus the Marvel characters in color, and of course with a matching riser. And this side panel looks just as good as the side panel on the other side. And minus the cheesy game logos on the kick plate, which if you follow my channel, you guys know I'm just not a fan of that. I wish all of these cabinets had artwork, full artwork on the J panels and on the kick plates. But minus that one little nitpicky thing that I always nitpick on, this is one of the best designed and appearance-wise Arcade1Up cabinets made to date. When you turn the cabinet on, you are just absolutely blown away with all the bright colors and fantastic user interface design by Arcade1Up on this particular cabinet. What's really cool is you can head into the settings, you can adjust your network settings because this is a Wi-Fi capable cabinet. The main purpose of buying this cabinet is to play these fighting games online. And of course you get to create your own user account. There I am, PDubs Arcade Loft. You can track your rankings, you can see the top leaderboards for people who have played the games. You can go in, you can change your name if desired. And not only that, you could also hop in and you can update your avatar, which is that little picture next to your username, and they give you dozens and dozens and dozens to choose from. Fantastic addition here by Arcade1Up. Love all the different avatar artworks and things of that nature. The user interface, it's fantastic for the 5 games included. You know, Marvel vs. Capcom, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes versus Capcom, War of the Gems, which is a Super Nintendo game. It's the only game that's not online enabled because it's just a Nintendo game. And then, of course, you have the Marvel Superheroes. So you do have 4 really good arcade games on here and then 1 console game. Normally, I would probably beat them to death over that console game, but it fits the theme of the cabinet so well and is a fun game to play. I'm liking it. And another super cool, awesome feature that they got on here is if you're in a game and you hold down the start button while you're in game, you can head into the game settings. And when you're in the game settings, you can do the test menu, testing your colors of the screen and all that stuff. But the main one is you can enter the configuration menu for each game. And each game has different configurations that you can adjust. So for instance, you can hop into game, play around with the difficulty, turn it down to easiest for the kids, crank it up to very hard for the pro players, and also adjust, you know, the special events in the game, timer speeds, turbo modes, all that stuff. Having access to these Dipswitch settings is something, if you follow my channel, I always beg and plead Arcade1Up for, and I'm happy to see that we're getting access to those on the recent Arcade1Up releases that have come to market, such as this cabinet. That's a big bucket of win, in my opinion. So what about these 5 included games? How do they play? Well, because you could play 4 of the games local and online, and then of course the Super Nintendo Marvel War of the Gems game, that's a local game only. But playing local play, all 5 games, no issues whatsoever, at least in my own point of view. I'm not experiencing any kind of weirdness playing the games or anything of that nature. Everything seems to be running and working really well, and all of the games are so much fun. Although I'm not a big Street Fighter fan, I prefer Mortal Kombat over Street Fighter. I'm absolutely digging, of course, the Marvel and X-Men crossover games that are on here. These games are a lot of fun to play. But of course, the #1 reason to buy this cabinet, in my opinion, is, especially if you're going to upgrade from your Marvel Superheroes Limited Edition version of Arcade1Up cabinets, is for the online play. You can go ahead and in any of the 4 major titles, 4 arcade titles, you can hop into, when you start a game, you get to choose, do you want to do local or online play? There's a couple of danger rooms, which are essentially lobbies, and you could go ahead and see if there's an open game available. Or you could just go ahead and start your own game. You can leave it kind of password protected. If you're willing to take on all comers, you can have that password number put in if you just want to play online with your buddies. And the online play is a blast. Obviously, I'm playing by myself right here, but in just a minute, we're going to end up having another player join us. It has not taken me long at all to find challengers online. It's really cool, man. Really cool. I can join other games or people can join mine. And now we're playing classic arcade fighting games online against each other on an arcade machine. And I'm absolutely shocked at how well the peer-to-peer gameplay networking here is working on these Arcade1Up cabinets. I mean, these are even using, I think this only connected to my 2.4 Wi-Fi network, not even my Wi-Fi 5 network. And everything is just running great. No input delays, no lag, no game lags, no frame skipping or tearing. My experience has been really, really good. I haven't had any issues. Haven't even had any rage quitters either. Because if you do try to quit a game mid-match, what'll happen is you'll get assigned a loss, which is fantastic. Keeps people from rage quitting. They don't want to get that loss on their record. And of course, as you can see here, no issues playing online matches whatsoever. I haven't encountered any. I think this is a huge win for Arcade1Up, and I do hope that some of their other franchise cabinets, such as Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, also get re-released instead of those legacy versions, but with this same kind of online play. I think those cabinets would be must-buy purchases. Obviously, the Killer Instinct cabinet coming out later this year, or potentially next year if it's delayed. The Killer Instinct Arcade1Up cabinet is going to have the online play, and if it works as good as this, that gets me even more excited for that particular cabinet. Overall, my friends, Arcade1Up hit a home run with the Marvel vs. Capcom cabinet, and I'm actually really excited that I finally get to say that, considering they've had a number of issues on their recent releases of cabinets over the last year that I haven't been able to say any cabinet has been a home run since back during the Star Wars and Ninja Turtle days. In my opinion, if you're a fan of Arcade1Up and if you're a fan of online multiplayer fighting games, this cabinet is a must-own to add to your Arcade1Up collection in your home. Once again, guys, this cabinet is PDubs approved. Well done, Arcade1Up. Congratulations. This is a fantastic cabinet, fantastic online play experience, fantastic user interface, fantastic design. Really have no issues with this cabinet, except the typical logos on the kick plate and, of course, the cheesy controls that Arcade1Up provides stock out of the box. Highly recommend this cabinet, guys. Go get it. Fantastic job once again to Arcade1Up. Feels good to finally say that in an Arcade1Up review on my channel. Do me a favor, guys, if you enjoy the content, give me a thumbs up on the way out, and as always, thank you for subscribing.